Welcome back to the Sunday Sweet podcast, where high performers share the exact habits and decisions that move the needle. Some people chase success whilst others learn how to handle failure, and that becomes their edge. My guest today, Chris, has lived through both, from the discipline of sport to the unpredictability of business. He's built his entire life around resilience and connection. And now, as the founder of Not Working Networking, he's redefining what it means to build true and honest relationships without personal gain, all about growth. Chris, welcome to the Sunday Suite.
Oh, thanks for having me along. Good to have a chat.
It's so awesome to see you. Like I said, it's probably been around 2.5 years since we last spoke. You popped up on LinkedIn. I was like, I have to ask you to come onto my podcast. I want to get into all of this with you. But my first question for you today, what's a quote, saying, or piece of advice that you live by daily?
It's dead easy, that. So I studied a degree in philosophy, love the Hellenistics, love the ancient Greeks, love Marcus Aurelius, Memento Mori, remember you'll die. And it sort of underpins pretty much everything. It's been a transformational piece for me recently, because it is legit. Like, my parents are getting old now, and you're seeing it, and some people on when you get Memento Mori, remember you'll die, they're like, oh, what a horrible thing. It's like, no, it's really affirming, and we're going deep fast here. We're really deep fast. But ultimately, if you know your life's going to end, and if you really sort of ruminate on that and realize how little effect it's going to have on anything, put your hands in a bucket of water, pull them out. That's the difference you're going to have on the universe. Like, go and do the thing, enjoy yourself, find some fun. Don't be frightened. Don't be frightened of getting it wrong. And it sort of fits in with all the mantras that so many people are saying. And I constantly ruminate. I have a coin on my bedside table, a Memento Mori coin that I got from some American guru bloke that was making a big noise, and I interacted with him. He sent me a coin and he disappeared. I check on it most days, and I think it's a really nice thing to do. And the origin, supposedly, my understanding was when the Romans were running around the world, taking over everywhere. They had sort of the stage with the generals that would say, because they were going on conquering and just taking over everything, the masters of the universe. Look, remember, you're going to die. This isn't going to last. However good you think it is, it's going to end. However bad you think it is, it's going to end. So don't get too caught up in anything, and just enjoy the moment.
So I know people listening are going to know straight off the bat where I want to take this conversation with you today, and why you're going to be the perfect person to speak to about this, because I know you are someone I could easily ask the question of, how do you define success outside of a title? And obviously we'll dive deeper into where you are and what you're doing shortly. But just going back to this first piece then, because I've had this conversation time and time again with my partner. We're very the opposites, right? So I'm like, I don't want to speak about death. I don't want to bring it to life. I don't know how to handle that. Whereas he is like, death is there for one day. We'll be put into our grave, and that is it. Do you know what I mean? And it does two different things, doesn't it? The person that's scared to talk about it thinks that, how am I going to word this? I want it to, for me, I want to make the most of everything I've got here. I don't want to know that there's going to be a finish line. Whereas the opposite for my partner is like, I know there's a finish line, so I'm going to make the most of everything. I think it's really down to the person and what do they believe is going to happen next.
It's hugely subjective. But for mine, I think it's one thing that we don't talk about enough. And I've had some great experience with my children. There's emotions that I feel that I can deal with because I'm an adult, and I've felt them a lot. But like the first time my daughter at school fancied a boy and he didn't fancy her back, rejection, it was horrible. It was crushed her for like 2 or 3 days. Whereas if I ask someone, for a bit of help with something, say no, it's like, all right, no worries, I'll move on, because it's happened lots of times. So that nerve ending for me has been tempered lots of times. It doesn't hurt, but when it's a raw emotion, when you feel it for the first time, it's difficult. And bereavement, loss, death, we don't talk about it very often, but it's absolutely cast iron guaranteed going to happen to all of us. So I find, talk about it, normalize it, temper that emotion slightly so that it doesn't have control of you as and when it does happen. And it's perhaps because I'm a little bit weird. I will not wear this as a martyr stone around my neck. I'm a bit autistic. But that's all I'm going to say about it. I just am. So I'm quite happy to embrace that. Now, some people find it uncomfortable, but it's going to happen. So you may as well discuss it and there's no point having, depression is things in the past, anxiety is things in the future. There's no point getting too het up on these things. Just sort of address it, talk about it, normalize it, make it a bit more comfortable because it's a guaranteed thing. And then use it to sort of power you through and help your decision making as you live your life. You can't be absolutely kamikaze and go, well, I'm going to die. I may as well go and take all the drugs and go crazy and explode. Like, that's not a good way to be. You've got to temper it slightly, but also doesn't really matter. If I get it wrong, so be it. I'll move on.
At what point did you get so comfortable with the idea of talking about it, though? Was it something that you grew up around where your parents were comfortable around the subject, or is it something you learned later in life throughout your
No, I
career?
think it's my own studies. It's my own studies.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about sort of success and what have you. Well, this is one I like. There's no point being the richest man in the cemetery. We're all going to die. So where does and I'm at that stage of a midlife crisis. I just rode a boat from Barcelona to Ibiza. So I don't know why, but I did. Where do you define your success? Where do you define, what's going well? And when I was younger, it used to be stuff. I wanted to have the important watch. I wanted to have the nice car. I wanted to have the tailored clothes. And these things mattered. And and then when I looked into that, well, why was that? Was that for me, or was that so that I get the adulation of my peers, that people go, oh, wow, he's doing well because he's got these things? And ultimately, it probably was that. And actually, where I'm at now, I have a greater level of contentedness. And Seneca, I go back to the ancient Greeks, Seneca, contentedness is the height of wealth. Well, I'm really happy with my lot. And, I like nice stuff. I'm always going to want stuff and things. But ultimately, I love my wife. She loves me. And I repeat this to lots of people. My uncle, who's got a cracking MO, modus operandi. Someone to love, someone to love you, something to look forward to, something to do. If you've got that on your list, you're in a pretty good place. And you have to make money. You have to survive. Life is tough at the moment. We're in a very difficult economy. But ultimately, I love someone. She loves me. We've always got things to do. We've got things to look forward to. And I sit there and we've got a nice house. We're quite happy. So I look at people with loads more material asset than I have, and I can see they're not in a good place. And I go, well, I'm actually all right.
Yeah.
I'd love another fiver, but and I love playing the game. If we won the lottery, I don't play the lottery, but I like playing the game. And again, neuroscience shows that if you think about the thing, you get almost as much fun as the thing happening.
What about early in your career, though? Because you come from a sporting background. There's been many a times where you've probably faced failure quite frequently. Tell me about, where does this real distinct positive energy come from? And don't just tell me it's with age. That's what I'm getting at.
There's a bit of experience. I think it's easy. Look, there's songs about it. I wish I knew now what I knew. Yeah, I wish I knew now. I wish that I knew all things now when I was younger. There you go. So I wish I knew all things now when I was younger. I wish I had that freedom, because I was worried about them and they and the things they think about. And we did the Building Brands conference, and the guys from Rage Creative came round and they were filming everyone. What's the advice you'd give your younger self? And pretty much everyone said, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. Crack on, enjoy yourself, find the fun. And it does come through experience, and I've had a lot of failure through my life. I was talking about it just yesterday. A pal of mine, I'd signed to play in France in Biarritz. Decent money deal, top 14 rugby team, playing in the European Champions Cup. I completely failed. Went out there, culturally got it wrong. Rugby-wise, coach didn't like me, didn't really pick me. There was a game, I was stood on the bench, 15,000 people watching. The bloke in my position got injured, thought I was going to get on. And I'm a second row, big tall fella, and they put a prop he was a big South Sea Islander, 6'5" man himself, but he was not a second row. He wasn't my position, got put on. I was like, these guys just don't like me. And that was difficult. I was away from home, none of my family were there. I felt everyone was looking at me, look at him, he's a failure. And I was living in a hotel at the time, full board. And I thought, well, I'll find some fulfillment another way. I'll just enjoy the La Vie en France, put on a load of weight. But ultimately, my mission was to be a rugby player. Completely failed. But that for me was a huge learning point. You've got to get things wrong to get things right. So then the next time I went to a club, well, it was actually, I came down to Exeter. This is 21 years ago. And I totally immersed myself in the culture, understood what was going on, bought into everyone, made sure I got everything right, and made a success of it. So it's through failure you can find success, and it's only failure in that moment. So until Memento Mori, until you're dead, it don't matter.
What happened to the dream of rugby? Because I remember when I first met you, I actually didn't know that was your background. I'd known you through networking and being so active on LinkedIn. So tell me about that dream and that first aspiration in your life.
Well, I came from rugby for stock. So my uncle played for the North. I mean, the game of rugby has changed dramatically in the last 30, 40 years, but my uncle played for the North of England. My dad was an aspirational rugby player. He lost his eye when he was 23, and that sort of curtailed his rugby career. So genetically, I'm huge. I'm 6'5" and a bit. I'm 20 stone. I'm a big man. And I was raised on the Wirral where there wasn't much. Football was the game. My granddad was Everton. Put me in Everton kit as a child. But I just got massive. Started playing rugby, and then about 15, 16, I became quite good at it. And the game started to go professional. I was like, I can actually make a living out of this. And I remember my leavers school book at school, look out for Benno, the rugby player. I was called Benno at the time. Went to university on graduation, signed professional terms, and played 13 years pro rugby. And it was how I defined myself. I was following in the footsteps of, but I loved it, love everything about it, and I'm really pleased. My children, well, my eldest is playing rugby. My boy's still a footballer, but as his genetics kick in, he'll probably end up playing rugby because he's going to be huge as well. And you have a ready-made family in a rugby club anywhere around the world, and it helps me being big. So people go, "You must play rugby." I'm like, yes, I did, and then you have the conversation. So I've had a great experience throughout my time in the game. Having left the game professionally 13 years ago and left administration of it the previous 7 years ago, I'm happy that I'm in a different chapter now. And it's nice for me that people meet me as not working networking or building brands. I just happen to be a big man, not he's a former rugby player. And I love my quotes. Muhammad Ali. If you meet a man who's the same at 50 as he was at 30, then he hasn't really done much. I quite like to keep evolving and doing new things.
It's interesting that, isn't it? Because if you spoke to your grandparents about that whole concept, it would be like, for my granddad, it was he entered BT at 16 or 18, and that was what he did for the rest of his life. And that to him was his pinnacle of success. I wonder what it's like for you to have found that dream career, completely lived it out, thought, right, this is my biggest achievement, this is what I determine as my success, and then it stops. What happens next?
Yeah, it was tough because I defined myself as Chris the rugby player, and there's a cracking bloke you should look up who's based in Los Angeles now, Mark Stabina, and he doesn't realise how important he was to me, but we spoke about it briefly, and it's a bereavement, it's loss of self, because I did define myself as that thing, and then it was like, well, I had probably a 6 month to 12 month period where I was lost and spiraling and going a bit crazy. And then I thought, well, I'll redefine myself as who I am. And rugby is always going to be a part of me, but it's not going to be me. So I moved on through that, and alluding back to your piece about your grandparents. I had a really good story that my dad gave me when I was a young man. My dad was a student, and he was dating my mum, and my mum lived on the Wirral, and my dad in his summer break got a job on Camel Laird shipyard. And he was putting down fencing or something, and there was a chap that was there that was in his early 60s, been there for 40 years of his life, and he was retiring. And on his retirement, they gave him a gold carriage clock. And my dad sort of saw him and said, "So you put 40 years of your life into this, and you've achieved a gold carriage clock. You've got to find something that you enjoy." And I think a lot of people don't. Work is a vessel that they almost suffer or they do to facilitate a lifestyle away from it. I'm very fortunate that throughout all of my life, work has been intertwined with fun and enjoyment. I played rugby for 13 years. When I was administrating the rugby in the commercial team, I was enjoying it. Now we've got a little marketing agency, networking, building brands. I enjoy it. I'm enjoying the things I do. And there's bad days, there's bad weeks, but you're always finding a bit of fun amidst it all.
The whole premise really behind me starting this podcast, and probably haven't actually told you the deeper meaning behind it, but I've tied my whole identity to my job. I've been very vocal with everyone I meet. I don't know if I'll have kids. Marriage has never been a big thing for me as a young woman in my teens. I was never that bothered by it. But my job...
The tectonic plates have shifted, yeah.
Yeah. And so my job has been my whole world, my entire baby. And this year's been challenging. There's been moments where I'm like, something I love so much is also bringing me so many challenges. Like it's overwhelming. It's one of those things where I'm like, it's like a love-hate relationship sometimes. And when I've had to, like, when push comes to shove and I look at it and I'm like, my whole identity is tied to my career. If that went tomorrow, what would I do? Who would I be? And, that's the whole point in having these conversations. I want to speak to people. I want
Meg,
to know
Meg,
about that.
I've been there.
Yeah. You tell me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
is
was,
it
I
bad that
was,
we
I
do
was,
this?
I was Chris the rugby player, but
Yeah.
I mean, look, the stages of life, you're miles younger, and that's where you are. You're driven, and you've got to go through it. Uh, I've spoken about it previously. But when the day that I was told I wasn't going to be a professional rugby player, I had a complete breakdown. Like I ended up having a massive fight, crying my eyes out, bawling because it was all I was, and I had this huge cathartic release, which at the time was horrendous. And I was so embarrassed that I had to go and apologise to the lad that I had a fight with. I had to apologise to the coaches. And I knew that I was done. I knew that my rugby playing career was over. And it was partly mine because there was opportunities to go to the places, but I knew I wanted to stay in Exeter. I knew that was it. And the job that I was offered was the job I wanted. But nonetheless, it crushed me. Absolutely. But from that, I was able to redefine myself and find meaning in other ways. And as I say, you say it's age. Yeah, it is. You've got to go through it. If there was a pill to make it quicker, you would. And there is no cheat code. There is no fast track. You just got to do it and enjoy it. And that's the point. And you just take a more humble position with it, because when you're young and you're driven and you're fighting and you want the stuff and you want the things, it matters. And I couldn't be me when I was 20. I had to be driving. I had to be angered by things and wound up to get to where I am now. You're just an evolving beast, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a journey we go through. Some people don't. Some people are really happy, or they do what they're doing, and that's that. There is no hard and fast way for everybody. And there's gurus that purport to say that there isn't. You find what's right for you. I'm just really pleased I found a groove now that I'm happy within. And fuck me, there's challenges. But within that, within the maelstrom of it all, you just find happiness. Even and if tell me. So if you haven't, I'm going to give you homework, and this is a good one. Have you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
No.
Right, then you have to. Yeah, I'm going to get, because I always quote this wrong, so I'm going to give it to you. Hang on. All right. So it's everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. It doesn't matter what's happening, you can decide your attitude within it. Now, it's a book, Man's Search for Meaning. You'll read it in a weekend, 150 pages. He was in a concentration camp, and he observed that the people that did the best were not those that were the biggest, the strongest, the healthiest, but those that made the decision to make the best of the situation they had. And it's a really difficult read. It's trying, it's emotional, and it's upsetting. But he comes through with this theory of logotherapy, that whatever's happening, you can decide how you feel. And I've found it massively important in my life, because I sometimes struggle with the black dog. I get down, but the black dog's never with me for more than a day. Because I go, do you know what? This doesn't matter. Whatever this thing is now, it's not going to define me. I'm either going to die or I'm not. I'm most likely not. So therefore, let's find some sun. And if you have to pare it back, I'm here. I'm conscious. You can pare it right back. I'm Descartes, the cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. But I'm here. I'm present. I'm alive. That's better than the alternative, not being here. So that's the basic. Now this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which again you need to read up. Self-actualization's at the top. We're so lucky to live in the Northern Hemisphere. In the West, I can turn on a tap and water comes out. I can flush a toilet, my poo goes away. Nobody in England that I'm aware of starves to death because they don't have food available to them. So we're totally blessed. And this is where you pare it back. So if the circumstance is tough, well, hang on, I'll get it back. Now, I'm further up the scale. I'm like, I love my wife. It's great. She loves me. I've got 2 healthy kids that are charging along. I'm 46 and I've still got a really nice relationship with my family. And I can ruminate on that, and neurons in my brain fire and oxytocin flows because I feel this connection to people, and serotonin flows because I know they love me back and I'm happy. So I can and this is Vicky Barnes, another one, happiness professor. Neurons that fire together wire together. If you start to think positive thoughts, you can change. You could alter your brain chemistry. So you're feeling a bit down now. There's this very, very, very small percent of people that need medical intervention and help, but the vast majority, you can help yourself. You can start thinking positive things, and you can pare it back however you like. In any set of circumstances, you can choose your way. So there's the big piece.
Yeah, it's interesting what we're talking about, because if I think back to my early days when I was a singer, and that didn't work out for me, but I'm thinking, why didn't that break me? That would have felt like a heartbreaking thing. That was my whole identity. Everyone used to think I was cool because I was a singer. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have the standard day-to-day job as everyone else. And that was my golden ticket to anything. It didn't work out, but that was because it was in my control, and I made a decision, having vocal injuries, that, you know, I had to look for something else. It was the stress and the pressure was too much. That was in my control. Recent challenges are out of my control. And that's the hard thing to face, is when something you love so much is being taken essentially into something that's bigger than me. I don't know how to handle it. And I spoke to a friend the other day, and, you know, we spoke quite deeply about mental health and mindset when it comes to your career. And it's touching on what you said there. If I think negatively, I attract negative things. If I think positively, I attract positive things.
Oh, look, I mean, my wife and I joke, if it all goes wrong, we'll go and take a load of spice and we'll live on Cathedral Green. Like, yes. Pardon? Hopefully that'll never bite us in the butt. We'll never have to do that. But you know, you laugh because you're joking. And this is the point, is you can frame the circumstance however you like. And you can sit there and catastrophize. And the truth of the matter is, anxiety is worry of things to come. They haven't happened yet. Depression is worry of things that have happened. Both of those get hold of a lot of people. You can spend time wallowing in them, and I sometimes do. And then you've got to pull your big, and then under any set of circumstances, choose your way. Is this going to make me any better? No. Do I need to ruminate on it? No. In 100 years, is anybody going to think about that thing? Probably not. So and like, you know, depending on your position, the world's gone on for hundreds of millions of years. We're a grain of sand on a massive beach. It does not matter. And if you can give yourself the freedom to say that, you know, you feel it. When rugby was taken from me, it felt like everything was gone. But I'm now 13 years down the line, and I'm in a better place now than I ever was. I'm living a much better life. I'm so much happier than I ever was. And I'm looking forward to my life going, there's so much more fun to be had. And I want to squeeze the lemon as best I can. So in any set of circumstances, I'm choosing a different way. And you know, I've mentioned Vicky Barnes' Free Happiness. There's a really nice page in that book about the neurons and how you can mechanically make yourself happy. There's a chap, Paul Dolan, London School of Economics. He's written Happiness by Design and Happy Ever After, two great books. Because I'm a big student of happiness. I think it's a really nice thing, and I try to be a happy man quite a lot of the time, whatever the circumstance. And the more I'm out and about meeting people, like, how can you be like this? You know, John Payne, one of my business partners of Building Brands, it's like, you've got a childlike wonder, and I thought it was an act, but it genuinely is you, because I have, because I want to play and explore and have fun.
I've got to ask you.
It don't fucking matter. Nothing matters.
I've got to ask you, because this is where you are now. In that moment when you lost rugby and you're wallowing in this self-pity of I have nothing left, if someone handed you a quote by Muhammad Ali or a self-help book, would it have helped?
No, I need to go through it. Well, what it did, so here's an anecdote. So when I retired from rugby and I joined the commercial team at the rugby club, I was given a psychometric test, the Myers-Briggs and all sorts. And Tony Rowe, the chief exec, said, "You're a salesman." I'm like, I said, "You're a natural salesman. You've got all of the traits of a salesman." And I went into sales and I did very well. And now to this day, I sort of sell stuff to people. It's a lot of what I do. And I've met someone with sales training, Sandler sales training, and there's a methodology that's used in Sandler sales training that people can learn and they can apply to how to sell, and they can become a salesperson. Now, naturally, I do Sandler sales: find your pain point, exacerbate it, show you a solution, work you through how to bring it through. I never knew that, I just did it. So it's within you, and these quotes that people use, all they do is They further they give examples of where you've done what you're going to achieve. I've gone through my life and I've applied these quotes to how I live, and then I've seen the quote and gone, oh, that's how I live my life. That fits with me. So I pulled it in, and there's like a confirmation bias towards it. So are quotes important? I think they are now. If somebody had come to me and said, in any set of circumstances, choose your own way, as I'd been decimated and was ruined, or when I was on the touchline at Biarritz and I wasn't put on the pitch, or when I shattered my ankle in the line-out first game of the season, or ruptured my posterior cruciate the final game of pre-season when we were going into the Premiership. There's been moments where you're crushed and you're like, fuck, how can I choose my own way? Well, I'm going to choose the way of being miserable. But having been through periods where you're a bit sad and you're a bit down, I'm now at the point, well, did it serve me any purpose? No. And knowing that I have this finite time, my runway is short, I'm so much better to find some positivity in it rather than negativity. Because ultimately, I say it to my children all the time, whingers get nothing. Whingers get nothing. You can sit and bitch and moan about it. You're going to get nothing for that. And if you do, is it going to help you? If someone comes in and saves you and solves your problem, are you a better person for it? Probably not. Are you better to stand up, dust yourself down and go, I'll fix this? I don't quite know how, but I will. Because I know I ain't going to starve to death. I know my excretion is going to get flooded away. I know there's water coming out the top. I've got a roof over my head. And I could sit there and catastrophize. Shit, I could lose it all. I could live on the street. If you keep your head together, you won't. There are support networks around you that will keep you going. So don't worry about it.
Tell me about your support networks then, because obviously you've gone from a sporting background to now networking, events, marketing. Like, how do you go from there to where you are now?
My support network comes from my wife's very important to me. My children are important to me. My family's important to me. I've got a large group of friends, and I'm quite happy to be open and vulnerable with them. I'm having a tough time at the moment. I'll share this with you. My mum's mid-stage Alzheimer's and dementia, and it's cruel. And we went out for tea last weekend, and my mum didn't realise the relevance of my wife and I. We've been together 10 years. I said, Tay, why are you here? Because I'm married to Chris. She didn't understand. That's tough. It's sad. So I found that difficult. And the other morning I woke up, I'm overcome with emotion. I had a little cry, nudged my wife, said, can I have a cuddle? I felt a bit sad. And it's okay to be there. But the key is not to wallow in it, not to wash yourself with self-pity and loathing and sadness. Is to go, well, my mum's here. I'm 46. I've got friends who haven't seen their parents for donkeys of years, and it's a blessing. And it's lovely to see the relationship with my parents evolve as my father's having to care for my mother. It's life, and Memento Mori, it's all going to end. So,
has work been your crutch for all of this?
No, it hasn't. I think my wife has. I think my wife has, my kids, my family. Because look, I'm talking to you now, and I'm hopeful other people will see this and go, shit, there's this massive rugby player who spent 13 years of his life fighting with people, and he's sitting in bed having a little cry and giving his wife a cuddle, and taking a submissive position within a relationship. Saying, look, this is who I am. I'm finding it difficult. I need a bit of your love here, and being open to that and taking it. And ultimately, I bounced out feeling better because of it. Because that's it. Like, life can be tough. Life can be cruel. So you bind your friends. This is Shakespeare now. You bind your friends with rings of steel. Get them close and keep them tight. And then you can share challenges you have. And adages are there for a reason. A problem solved is a problem halved. And sometimes if my wife's having a tough time, I implore her to lean on me. And as I do to my friends, my close friends, if you're having a tough time, when I'm having a tough time, I'm going to share it with you. And I expect when you're having a tough time, you share it with me. And we help each other through. Because it ain't finite till it is. So in that case, frame it in a good way.
So when I first thought about getting you on as well, like I love to talk so much about the person behind the title, all of the personal aspects to you in your life. But as we keep coming back to, our careers they're a lifeline for a lot of people. They're our income. They pay for our mortgage, our kids, the roofs over our heads. It's a non-negotiable. When you're starting a business, it's all about who do you know, what's the word of mouth, how do I spread the word or my mission further. You're obviously in the networking space. Mm-hmm. Tell me how you're disrupting the industry, because networking itself is becoming a bit of a buzzword. becomes a little bit frustrating sometimes.
Well,
It's not worked for
first and
everyone.
foremost, let's put a caveat in. We're networking in the southwest of England, so it's a hell of a lot harder than lots of other places because 180 degrees of our marketplace is water. So we live where people go on holiday, which is great for us. But also we've got to be really good at what we do. Now,
Yeah, yeah, I
with
agree.
regards to marketing, with regards to networking, I found it very difficult. People would come up to me and go, "Here's my card, come and work with me." And I'm like, "Who are you? I don't know you. I don't understand this." And I was not hugely receiving of the transactional the transactional nature of networking. Didn't like that. What I wanted was a more relationship based networking because I might not want what you do now, but it may well be in 6 months' time. I do need that, and so let's build relationships, let's build friendships. So the whole basis of networking, and you're 5 to 7 times more likely to work with someone recommended to you than somebody you pick up from the other pages. So build relationships. And so how do you build relationships? Well, you do anything, and it sounds counterintuitive. Do anything but talk about what you do. Just have fun and make friends with people, and slowly, casually drop in. This is what I do. I put on events. I stand in front of people and talk. I bring people together. But I don't really need to. You'll sort of figure it out. LinkedIn and everything exists for a reason. People can find that out about you. Just go make friends. Go with the express intention of making friends and cracking on. And slowly but surely, I've found it's magnetized folk towards us. So from big corporate businesses to SMEs that want to get their word out, they go, "Well, Chris, can you help amplify the name of my business?" Well, yeah, I can. But we're not going to do it by saying this is what we do and these are the benefits we bring and list them. We're just going to go, "We're humans. This is what we're about. This is what we stand for." And you start to find tribes that fit. And that's how it's worked for us so far. And there's an element of cynicism behind it because we have to get people to come and spend some money to be there. But we like to think that if they give us £1 to be a part of our event or to come and amplify their business, you're going to get £2 back. So we provide value in what we do. And at the moment, it's working, and it's an antidote to the transactional nature that a lot of people work with that I'm not a fan of. And do you know what? It's great for certain people. There are networking events that get together and they say, "How many referrals have you had? How much money have you built?" And that's great. But for me, when I get home, I want to go, "I've made a few pals today and we've landed a bit of work and it's lovely." And I'm quite happy with that. And I'm never going to be a millionaire. There's been periods in my life where there's been realizations. When I was a rugby player, when I was mid-20s, it's like, don't think I'm going to play for England. Don't think I'm going to make it. I think I'm going to do well, but I'm not going to be the best. I'm now in the world of business, and I'm going, and the gauge where most people measure business is your EBITDA and scale to exit and all that. I quite like what I do, and I'm quite happy with that. And other people are going to be really driven. I've got a friend of mine who's just had his business valued at 20 odd million quid. He's worked like fuck. Excuse my language. He has worked every hour God sent for the last 10 years at the expense of friends and relationships and what have you. He's a good lad, lovely boy. God, he's worked hard. I'd never have that in me because I've got so many nice experiences and moments that I've had, and I wish him all the best. And he's done well, and he's driven that. And perhaps I could have been a bit more applying myself, but I'm happy, and I don't want to be the richest man in the cemetery, and I've got all the things I need. So we work. The runway for us is 5 or 10 years. We want, that's the maximum we want to work, really. But we're sort of doing it well, and we're happy with it, and it works for us. I don't want to extol that to other people. Other people may have different drives and volitions, but within my world, it's pretty good.
I'm thinking because it's a tricky thing, isn't it? You were talking about what people define as success is very different to them, and what makes you happy is different to the person next to you. And I think the same is with any expectation. If you're creating a space for people to come and connect, you're hosting these events, everyone's coming in with a different expectation. And for the people, and I've met several of them from my life, and it frustrates me all the time that the people that say networking doesn't work, I went for a month and I didn't sell anything. What do you say to those people?
Yeah, it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you, and oh God, what can I say to them? Well, no, they're not sort of podcasting. No, I wouldn't like those people. I wouldn't get on with them. So they're not my people. And they will find, I can recommend networks to them where it is so driven and so competitive, and they're going to fight for everything. But I used to be like that, and now I'm not, because I just don't want it.
I wonder if a part of those types of people that walk into the room is they're the types of people that say you shouldn't do business with friends. What do you think to that?
I think you can do business with friends. You just have to ensure that you've got your. I've got a good mate of mine, and I've got loads. Most of the people I work with are my friends.
Yeah.
It just so happens to be the way, because I get on with them. We like doing business together. They support me in my endeavors. I support them in their endeavors, and we've created a really nice ecosystem. And some of them are mega money. Some of them are not huge sums, but that's just how it's panned out for us. We spend a lot of time with people we work with, and we mix business with pleasure. We really do. And my accountant goes berserk every year when we submit the books, because a lot of pardon? What? I can, because it's our business is based on pleasure. We're having fun. Going out and eat meals it can be put down as cost of sales at times. That's what we're doing. We're meeting people, having a crack, and ultimately that's what leads to the business taking place. We've got a very peculiar blueprint, but it works for us.
I put in the email before when I was prepping for this podcast for you, didn't I? And I wanted to ask you, and it's funny. And I don't see you as a salesperson. Like I wouldn't, like when I reached out to you, I was like, this is the quotes maestro. He's in networking. This is the direction I want to take this. But I know you've got a background in sales, but it's not been a conscious background in sales. That's why I want to ask you. You're not someone that goes out there and says, this is the number one sales tip. You just sell.
So I sold the rugby club through a period of exponential growth. Final year, I was billing about £3.5 million. But that was Exeter Chiefs Rugby Club at the as they were doing their ascent. So I was an order taker, but I made it easy for people to spend money. And now we're building brands. Pretty much all the sponsorship I sell. With networking, I sell pretty much all the sponsorship there. And then obviously we charge people to come to the events.
Yeah.
So I do sell.
Yeah.
But what I do is I present the proposition that we present is really nice and fun, and you want to be a part of it.
That's what I mean. It doesn't feel like a sales pitch. Do you know when I first started looking into sales training, I hated it because I didn't want to be a sleazy car salesman. And I would watch the videos online of Jordan Belfort, and he would, sell me this pen. I wanted to ask you the exact
Jordan
same
Belfort
question.
Can get in a fucking bin, though, can't he? Like, God bless him, he's got loads of money, but look at the train crash behind him, and look at the people that he's hurt. If your fun comes at the expense of somebody else, then it's not fun. And the fact that he's idolised, like if Wolf of Wall Street's a fun film, but ultimately it was built on ripping people off. And so he was going to bed at night ripping people off, and we idolise him and say, what a great man. Well, no, he's not selling ice to Eskimos, he's ripping people off. Well, provide value in what you do. So look at your proposition. Are you providing value? If somebody engages with you, are they going to go away with a better outcome because they've engaged with you?
I knew this was going to be a really interesting conversation. I didn't know how much closer I'd feel to you from it, and I also didn't know how honest you'd be. I wonder, do you, at this point in your life now, 46 years old, do you care what people think about you?
Nowhere near as much as I used to. Still a bit too much, though. I try desperately not to, because it doesn't matter. There's no point being. The less I can be concerned about what people think about me, the more fun I have. Is the truth of it, and I'm getting more and more. I've been brutally honest with you, and I'm really transparent across the board. And you want honesty? I lived a duplicitous period when I was younger, and I didn't like it. I was a horrible man. So I've chosen now to have radical candor and be open and honest pretty much all the way. Sometimes it's uncomfortable with people, and sometimes I overstep the mark with my honesty. I don't need to share some of the things that I share. But I'm in this place where I'm really contented and happy. So I feel that I want to share my happiness.
Any regrets?
Loads, yeah. But I'd rather live with regret I'd rather live with the regret of having done things than the regret of not. And ultimately, I'm at peace with the things that I regret doing. There's some things. I mean, shit. I was, when I was a 20-year-old, when I was in my early 20s, and I was playing rugby, and I was built like He-Man, and I thought I ruled the world, and I was getting paid a decent sum of money. I was disrespectful to certain people. I probably shouldn't have been, but going and apologising to them would be for me, not for them. So I have to wear some of those tags and regret some of my actions as a younger man. without a doubt. Um, but that's on me. That, talk about regrets. Yeah, there's a few. But I've never consciously upset anyone. I've never consciously tried to hurt anyone. But just my behaviour's a bit
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, that's just life. It's just coming of age, isn't it? A lot of what I'm hearing from this conversation today is that, and that's a good thing. I used to think that being told when I was younger that it will come with age was a negative at me, but it just means I've got so much more
You've got to
to,
do it.
like, room to grow, to learn, to
You've got
nothing's
to.
permanent.
No, I think that's the big thing. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to go through life. You have to live it. But the key is to be present and to live it. And when it's tough and it's going wrong, really relish in it, because this is tough now. And Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going. When it's tough, keep going. Get your ass down, get your head up, and then a day later, sit up and go, shit, I'm still here. The world hasn't imploded. I haven't lost everything. And what's more, I've got an amazing chihuahua. I've got a great boyfriend that loves me. I've got a nice house. And take stock of those things and get the neurons firing in a happy way, and suddenly you start to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because life goes on. Never as bad as you think it is, never as good as you think it is.
You've sprinkled, I knew it would be. You sprinkled so many quotes across this episode. You've shared so many books, which I do want to be able to add to the description of this episode for people that want to come back and have a read. But is there anything else you want to leave our audience with today to sort of commit to for the next 7 days that's an action that they can take away from this episode? So they haven't just listened, but they felt like they've got something to go away with and continue on this journey.
If I could find it, I'd find it. I just neurons that fire together, wire together. Just be happy. Just find happiness. Well, I deem happiness as one of the most important things.
Have you done anything though, in like tools wise for happiness? Are you someone that journals? Did you meditate? Have you found another way to come to peace with things in those moments of complete darkness?
Well, I just voice them. I just voice them. As I say, I was really sad yesterday. And I said to my wife, I was a bit sad, and I had a moment, I had a cuddle, and it's amazing. It's cathartic. It's gone.
Yeah.
Washes away, and then you focus on a few nice things.
So the advice could be, if you're struggling with something right now, something's on your chest, then feel confident enough to share it with someone.
Oh God, yeah, 100%. Like share a problem. Like a problem solved is a problem halved is true. And find people that you can trust, because when you're going to be vulnerable, you need people that you can trust and you can rely on. You don't want someone that's going to take that news in a negative way against you. You have to be very careful when you open up. But on the flip, I've shared some pretty heavy duty stuff with you today, because I'm a lot more robust now, and there's not much people can use against me, because Memento Mori.
It's interesting how just someone's support, someone's gentle words can get you through a moment of time. Because I've always been like, this is my career, this is my problem. And my partner the other day said to me, no, we're a team. And oh my gosh, that got me through the week from hell.
Yeah, but entirely, Meg. That's the whole point. And you know what? You're still here.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that Hollywood film. This is the end. The earth doesn't open up, demons come out and grab you. It ain't that bad. It really.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a study done for someone that lives in sub-Saharan Africa, where they have to walk 3 miles to get their water, and they live in a hut, and there's no sanitation, and you're waiting for aid deliveries for your food. They feel hardship. Someone that lives in Devon that perhaps can't buy Marks and Spencer's finest food for the day, they will feel an equal level of hardship as this person. We feel hardship the same way. Your adaptation is to the level at which you live, so we feel it equally the same. But if you can step back, if you can step out the cereal box and look at the ingredients, you go, actually, I'm doing really well here. I'm all right. And in the lottery of life, to be living where I am, if you're able to watch this podcast, you have some form of tech that a lot of people don't have. We're doing well. And in any set of circumstances, you can choose your will. You can choose your way. And it doesn't matter how dark it is, you can reframe it. Now, yes, I'm down. I'm 20 odd years on from you, so it's easy because I've had some crushing disappointments that I've come through, and I look back on them and go, mate, the world didn't eat me up. Nobody cares. The only person that's worried about this is me. So stop worrying. And it sounds dead easy, but you got to do it. And I've had a lovely weekend this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to our wedding anniversary in 6 days. We're gonna have a really nice time.
Oh,
so to look forward to.
Congratulations on that coming up. I honestly, this this conversation has given me so much more than I ever imagined. So thank you for your
I'm
time.
pleased with that. Yeah, well, it's another one. Go on Vinted. Buy some clothes on Vinted. It's fucking brilliant. Have you discovered Vinted?
Yeah, I've got the app.
It is one of the best things in the fucking galaxy. I said to both my children, I said, look, I can get you a few new things. I can get you loads of old things. Get a deal on Vinted. Gives me so much pleasure. I absolutely love it. And because I'm a certain shape, I know Timberland double XL slim fit fits me on the button. It's like it's made for me. I have my filters on, nearly new, very good condition, no more than 15 quid. So only things pop up when it's like a jilted partner. It's like, right, I'm getting rid of him, I'm getting rid of all this stuff. And I'll get like a Timberland polo, 50 quid for a tenner. I feel like 10 men. Like you talk about the receptors in your brain switch on. I'm like, I've just got one hell of a deal. It's great because I quite like clothes. Because I'm not the best looking guy, so I can polish it quite well. You know, I wear decent garbs. I'm like, yeah, well done me. And my teeth are all over this, young. But I'm owning it, and Vinted for me been a gift.
I'm going to reach out to Vinted and ask them to sponsor us.
Oh yeah, and then you have the amazing economy where you sell some of your stuff. So I run a negative economy. Until I sell stuff, I can't buy stuff. So I'm Mary Kondoing as well. So again, decluttering makes me feel better. If I haven't used it for a year, sell it.
I'll catch you soon.
Yeah, all right, sound.
Thanks. So as always, you have a little bit of homework to do. Tomorrow, Monday morning, take Chris's action and commit to it for the next 7 days. Track how it changes your focus, your energy, or your results. Because as we know, patterns compound as small shifts move the dial. For me, in all honesty, Chris's story is proof that success isn't just about hard work. It's a lot about how you pay it forward. And he taught me that lesson really early on. When I first met him back in my early days of podcasting, so we're talking a couple of years ago, he had this inspirational, motivational quotes notes app on his phone where he, just the iPhone notes app, and he would jot down quotes that inspired him every single day. And this page was huge. I kid you not, it was huge. And I remember feeling so like, I love that. I want that. And I asked him about it, and he came back, sent it to me in an email and said, this is my gift to you. Hopefully one day you can pay it forward too. And I still remember that message to this day because I think he was the first person that truly taught me about paying it forward for others. And I really hope that's something you take away from today's episode. I'm Meg, and I'll catch you next week for a brand new episode of the Sunday Suite. Boop, boop. So, you know how it is.
What dog have you got?
A chihuahua. What have you got?
3 chihuahuas.
Have you?
Yeah. Come here, Willie. Well, hang on. Willie won't come to me, but it's okay. Oh, no. Oh, shit. What's up in there? Oh, shit. Did I hang up on you? Oh, no. Drop the phone. Go, Willie. Where's Willie? Oh, there's food. There's Madame Lafontaine.
Oh, my God.
She's the queen.
Yeah.
She's the absolute dominator. We've got Willie, Foofy, and Dolly. Hang on. Can I?
Are they all long hair?
I know, they're all short hair. Hello, little Foof.
Yeah,
we got So we've got an apple face, Foof, deer face, Willie, and another little apple face.
See, I don't know what face Sky is. Maybe you can tell me. I was trying to do it with my partner.
Oh, babe, come and see this one. Who's this one?
Sky.
No, Sky. Sky, I would say is some mixture of the both. And she looks like
she is, isn't she?
She's beautiful.
She is a mixture. I can't really.
She's like the cross between Willie and Dolly.
It's like cross.
Yeah.